Hi, this is Majo John Ned, and they call me Juanito in Mexico. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous sunny day. Not a cloud in the sky. And when I left the meeting I was just in, I was drawn inexorably to this bench. This bench, which right now is in the shade. So I made a choice to sit in the shade on a beautiful sunny day. And it's cold here. And I'm keeping it for this video because I think it's a prop for what I want to say about duality. My primary teacher for the last 20 years has been Ramana Maharshi, who is non-dualist. And I've integrated that pretty deeply so that when Kelly Corrigan, who's a big-time influencer with the PBS show, said in one of her talks, she was being interviewed in National Public Radio, well, let's face it, some things just suck. I went, why'd she say that? How can she actually think that? And it precipitated a whole series of videos I shot about why it's not possible for anything to happen that's genuinely bad. But it is possible for lots of things to happen that are hard. So this bench was the center of my days for a period of 19 days that I was recently homeless, including right around the corner. There's a little road down there, and there's a porch I would hang out for in a house that was not being used until Asheville cops ran me out of there one night. There was not time at the end of this meeting for me to tell a story, but I'm going to tell it here. I was at the top of my game. I was having my best life in Mexico 6 months ago. And on March 3rd, I lost the ability to urinate. And that precipitated 6 months of being really, really sick. And in the middle of that sickness, I was at a rehab center here in Asheville in the Biltmore Village area called The Laurels. And the guy who was the unit manager there, the administrative boss of the whole place, was also a very deep seeker, a guy named Matt. And he sent me a video from Alan Watts, who's one of the people who most popularized Zen in the West. And I actually heard speak as a young man. And the metaphor Alan Watts gave was, say we've had 75 lifetimes that just went great. Lots of pleasure, lots of fun. And we said to life, to God, I'm getting kind of bored with this. Would you throw me some curveballs? Give me something that's kind of harder to deal with. And the life that life sent us based on that was the life we're having now. Full of reversals, full of curveballs, and then what do we do with it? And what I did with that at the Laurels was to say, you love altered states of consciousness. You believe in them. You believe that that's maybe the biggest duality in our society is people who know that this normal state of consciousness is just one of many versus all the people who hang on tight to that, what they think is reality. I credit Steve Jobs with saying reality, what a concept. So there at that rehab place where I was so devastated, sick for months, terrible balance, really weak, not knowing if I was going to live. And I said, this is an altered state. If I regard this whole thing as just an altered state of consciousness, it opens up a whole new way to relate to it, and that made all the difference for me. Here in Asheville, my 16 years from 2004 to 2020, I, for most of that time, belonged to a church called Jubilee. And at the end of that time, the minister, Howard Hanger, who had been the only minister for 30 years, hung up his spurs, and a new minister came in, Amy Steinberg, who came out of the science of mind tradition, the power of positive thinking. And for 6 months, she had to wrestle with the Christian myth that, they actually crucified this guy. You know, what do you do with it? There's no glib way to respond to that. And she was wonderful. She's a New Age singer with quite a following and wonderful body of work. But she had to wrestle with that dark side in a way she never had before. And after she got brutally fired because they just couldn't handle her there, she went off and created her own Science of Mind kind of church online because of the COVID. And they could never touch what she did there because it was shallow. And the woman who facilitated this session I was just in is really brilliant, great values, wonderful presenter. And because she's always got an answer for everything, she doesn't have to doesn't miss a beat. She comes across as being glib, as being more shallow than she really is. And I said to her, even at the end of the session, I think you need what I need is someone who will get in your way, stop you in your tracks, say something so different from the way you look at it that you have to slow down a little bit. And I need that big time. I need people in my life who are heavy hitters and will say, yeah, but deal with this. Deal with it. Don't object to it. Don't decide it's wrong. Deal with it and come out stronger because you integrated something you didn't yet know. And that's all I have to say about that. Bye. Have a good day.